Today we are doing a review of the critically acclaimed black myth Wukong. We shall go over what this game is worth. If you've done any research or have seen any knowledge on it, you will know that this game is getting great reviews. So we will go over why that is, what you should expect from the game, what you can compare the game to figure out what type of game you're going to be playing, and of course, any faults that I might see within the game. Now, this game, I will admit, when it first released its trailers, back 100 years ago, it looked phenomenal and amazing. And as times and years went by, what once was groundbreaking technology started kind of becoming just the norm in graphics at the time, which I felt was a shame because, of course, if Black Myth Wukong came out originally back in 2019 or whatever day it came out showing its visuals, it would have been groundbreaking. But now with games like Horizon and Cyberpunk, its graphics aren't truly mind blowing as we would hope. So that leaves it all on the gameplay. Will the gameplay truly live up to what we don't know what we have imagined, or can hope to be what a game is. And I can say truthfully and honestly that it does. Now, the first thing you will want to connect in your brain to if you'll like this game and what is the best way to figure out why you'll like it. A lot of people, first I've heard, is a lot of connections between Dark Souls and games of that nature. I do not in any shape or form really connect it with those games. To me, this 100% would be a Chinese based version of God of War. You are essentially God, the demigod, destroying, monster legend that goes around these mythical places in like ancient China and just fucks up God after God after God, regardless of size, as you make it, to the final big bad. And that is what I would say is one of the most amazing things throughout the game and the things I cherish the most. I got very into Greek mythology when God of War. I think around when God of War originally came out, Greek mythology just in general was huge, which is why we were getting movies like 300 and shows like Spartacus. And now since Thor's came out, we have a lot more focus on Norse mythology and games like Valhalla and the new God of War and all that fun stuff. It is a market that doesn't exist really. We know a lot of a little about Chinese mythology because so many things are based off of it that but nothing that fully kind of comprehends the story of Journey to the West, which is what this is based off of. I would believe that a huge majority of people who play this game, have probably not seen a Journey to the West movie or a Sun Wukong movie or a Monkey King movie. The closest thing you might see is things like Dragon Ball and, that have hints of it in it with its extended pole and things in that nature. So, with that being said, this has opened a huge door. Not only have I been hooked to this game the past, week or two, but on the off time, I've been hooked into learning all about this mythology because every the thing that this game is known for is every corner that you turn, you run into a new mini boss of sorts. And turns out that every one of these mini bosses leads and has history in this book. And they have their own backstory and everything. They're not just random, weird, fucked up monsters they created just to fucking make a weird fucking monster. They have history and connected to the lore of this. And you can get lost looking into all the movies and shows and backstories of all the things mentioned in it. But anyways, I digress. So that is a positive. If you want to get a full dose of learning about Chinese mythology and, you know, one of the greatest inspirations, and this is for it. And like I said, it has the growth and style and adaptability of a God of War game, which is great. Now to go over the positives and negatives of the game. So first off, this game is a fair amount of time. It is 6 chapters long, and which I thought seemed originally pretty short, especially the first chapter isn't extremely long. It's maybe like an hour or so, but it definitely spreads out. And if you explore the world as you should, you will easily spend, you know, I don't know, 20 to 40 hours or something. I haven't been counting, but definitely, it's definitely worth its price. It has a full adventure. And not only that, there are cutscenes that they've made into the journey that, honestly, I'm like, where the fuck? I have no idea what's happening. Like, did I miss a cutscene somewhere? I have no idea what's happening. But specifically, they have a cutscene with Yellowbrow, which is someone you meet along the path in Chapter 3, that I just is a masterpiece of animation storytelling if I was to ever see one. And they do that throughout. So you get plenty of time to play. Another big thing that hooks me into a game is constantly having upgrades, getting new armor, new weapons, new skills, new abilities, so you can try these abilities on your enemies as you play this, 40-hour game. Ways to spice it. And the way that they do that is essentially breaking it up into 4 different categories. One, you have of course, your weapon ability. Your weapon ability is mainly your staff, which comes with 3 preloaded ways to fight with it. They kind of change it up. I'm a fan of the pillar and smash versions. I know they use the thrusting version of it. I believe there's a 4th one that's also hidden, like a Monkey King version of the staff. You also do get some weapons that are also staffs and don't really break from that path. You get a kind of double-edged spear, which breaks away from having a staff. It's still basically a staff, though. That is one of my biggest negatives of the game, is the fact that there's not a lot of variety with weaponry. I don't see why it's a big deal to give us a sword or a spear or more variety. But that's where I guess the reason they felt like it was unnecessary is because of the other powers it gives you, along with the power to duplicate yourself, and you can freeze enemies and go invisible and cloud step and things of that nature. But one of the 2 biggest powers you really get is, one is your spears, which is basically any mini boss that you kind of face, you can incorporate and turn into them for half a millisecond to do one of their main attacks. You can only do one at a time. You have to apply that person and level them up, so you have to pick and choose. But it is a wide roster of like 20 people, maybe more, that you can pick from to transform yourself into. So there's a good variety, even so you don't get to use it for a lot. That also goes into, full transformations where you actually not only turn into something, but you can turn into them for a period of time and use their powers and magic for longer than the other ones. And this is one of your big skills. And you do get a variety of these, not just one or two. There is a good amount. So, like I said, I maybe perhaps because they give you such variety into changing to different people, even if it is brief, and you have to reload the skill, maybe that compensates for the fact that they don't create a huge variety of weapons for you to use. I digress, but those would be the biggest flaws I could really see, or more nitpickiness. It would be nice to have a larger variety of weapons. It would be nice to have a larger. If you're gonna transform into it for a longer period of time and allow you to kind of stick with it. But beyond that, and there are sometimes a little bit too much space in between switching into different people, and sometimes you get skills that seem just placed at wrong periods of time. I'm not too sure. But beyond that, great story, beautiful world, graphics are amazing, the fighting is top notch, the deflecting, the dodging, all that looks amazing. It's worth your time and money, and you get a good amount of spells and skills to keep it fresh. So beyond the lacklusterness of variety when it comes to your weapon, beyond your staff, which I guess why can you complain when that is the power you should have, then it's a top game. If you like God of War, you'll love this. If you love learning about mythology, you'll love this. So this to me is a game, that if you had to pay the full $60 price to play it, I don't think it would be a bad investment. I think it's worth playing. If you are a person that just refuses to pay full price, if you can find it for $40, I think that's a fair deal. I'd say the best deal in the near future, is $30. If you can get this game for $30, go out there and buy it. It'll be worth it. Again, if you like God of War, you will like this game. It's that simple. So, hope this helps in making decisions if you haven't made it yet. Later, guys.